Hi beauties, welcome back to my channel. This is Wedding TNT with Kat, and I am Kat. Here on Wedding TNT, I am dedicated to bringing you all the latest tips and tricks that you are going to need to know to plan your big, important, special day. So do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That will keep you locked and loaded and knowing when I am posting the latest video to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks. On today's video, we are going to be discussing Pinterest and about probably 3 to 4 of my most important tips for any of you that are using Pinterest to plan your wedding. You are going to want to stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get on today's video. On today's video, we are going to be going through Pinterest and a couple of the things that I think that you really need to know when you're planning your wedding and you are using Pinterest. So Pinterest can definitely be the holy grail of, search, I guess, an overall inspiration when you're planning your wedding. There's obviously thousands and thousands of pictures that have been pinned there and just give you endless opportunity to go through all of them. But it can be really overwhelming, and there's definitely some things that I think that you need to know before going and using Pinterest to plan your wedding. So in no particular order, these are going to be my top probably 4 tips. We'll see if I can narrow them down to 4. So a little bit of a backstory before I do get into these 4 tips. I own a floral and wedding accessories business here in Saskatoon, Canada. And so a lot of my clients that are coming to me are using Pinterest for at least getting their inspiration photos, if not for planning their weddings completely. So I deal with Pinterest on a daily basis. So my very first tip for you when you're going to start using Pinterest is for you to sit down with your fiance. Whether your fiance really wants to be involved in the wedding or if they're just leaving everything up to you, pick one night or one day that it is your day to sit down and decide certain aspects of your wedding, what your colors are going to be, what your theme is going to be. If you do want to have an indoor and an outdoor venue, if you are going to have a specific wedding flower, any of those types of things, you really do want to make sure that you're making those decisions together. They might want to just make you happy and, say, hey baby, whatever makes you happy. But ultimately, we all know, I'm speaking, I guess, from a woman's perspective here, I find it extremely sexy as well as comforting when my boyfriend's willing to give me his opinions and really show that he wants to be present in those decision-making processes. It just makes it a lot easier and ensures that you are going to get something that both of you are really enjoying. My cat wants to be part of the video right now. So before you get anyone else involved in your planning of your wedding and before you go on Pinterest, really take one day where you do sit down with your partner and make those decisions together, those big key decisions. And then when you start Pinterest, the second tip. So the first tip, make those big decisions with your partner before you go online. Second tip that I can give you is that when you first go online, create yourself your little memory pin that you're gonna have. Give it a name like our wedding inspiration or something like that, and pick between 2 to 5 people that you really trust and allow them to have access to that folder with you. You can send it through email, and that way they can have the link to it directly. Let them know what your overall inspiration is as well. But we know that when we plan anything, it's really important. We do want to bounce ideas off of those people that we trust the most. So giving them access to that particular pin folder is just going to make the communication a lot easier for you. And That way too, if you only like grant access to a couple people, you're not being overwhelmed by so many people having an opinion about your big day. But these are people that you really trust, that you know that they have your best interest at heart. Sometimes it can be really nice to see what your best friend's version of rustic is versus your mom's version of rustic versus your version of rustic. Because a lot of the times we do end up wanting to incorporate our favorite people and their ideas into our overall themes. It really helps us feel like we're making an event or a celebration that everybody can enjoy. So getting those opinions from those other people can be really helpful at the beginning stages of your planning. So the beginning stages of using Pinterest. And I would also kind of cap everybody at a certain limit. Don't let them say, pin every single picture that you think is something I would be inspired by. No, I would give them like, you're allowed to pin, 5 dress ideas, 5 bouquet ideas, 5 centerpiece ideas. Like, give them a cap on that, because you don't want it to become something that's overwhelming. This is just helping you to gain a little bit of insight, as well as maybe direct you in the direction that you are actually most interested in going in. And the third tip that I can give you is that you are going to want to get some type of a binder, and do make sure that you get some of these. Oh, my pens are going to fall out of my binder here. Some of these little slot things here, and some, they have little openings. You can get ones that actually have like zippers, and you can put things like fabric samples, or business cards, those types of things. So you're going to want to get a binder, and you're going to want to get dividers. And like I said, do make sure that some of those dividers do have slots where you can put business cards or fabric samples, or information booklets, anything like that from different shows that you've gone to, or just things that you're printing off. And when you make those final decisions, whether you're using Pinterest or whatever, just Google or anything like that, when you do decide to make those final decisions on this is what it's going to be, print that off, put that in your binder, and have this binder be like gold to you. This is what you're going to turn to when you need anything answered, or you need to make sure that you are sticking to your schedule or anything like that. The binder is also a really helpful thing to take with you if you're meeting with an event planner, so like a wedding planner, or if you're meeting with a venue, or even somebody like a florist. It really helps us get to know you as a person. It can also help too in determining the amount of time that is going to be needed in creating your pieces, and really what your overall budget is. Even if you don't necessarily know what your budget is, when we're able to see your binder and see the inspiration that you're bringing through, a lot of the time we can see what things will cost you. And if you say that your budget, say that you have your flower budget capped at $700, but you're wanting, big peonies and dahlias, and then you want to incorporate, Swarovski crystals and all this stuff, we can tell you that there's just, maybe some things need to be adjusted a little bit in order to actually get your dream look for the budget that you're wanting, or where you're going to have to manipulate your budget in order to afford florals that are going to be that extravagant. So that is my third tip, is to make sure that you get that binder. And then the fourth tip is kind of associated with that third tip. And that fourth tip I can give you is that when you've made those big decisions, when you've said yes, when you've printed it off and you've stuck it in your binder, that's the time that you want to go in and you actually want to either delete the entire album off of Pinterest, or unsubscribe to getting the emails where they have, recommended new things that are like what is in your pinned folder. So you either want to delete it 100%, or you want to unsubscribe to those emails, because you don't want to be second guessing every decision that you have made. And in moments when you're feeling really stressed about something, or you know, maybe a color isn't exactly how you envisioned it to be the very first time that you get a color sample in, or a swatch or something like that. It can be natural to just, you know, want to kind of take your mind off things, or maybe you're thinking you have to reevaluate everything altogether. And then so you go back onto Pinterest and you start looking for new inspiration and all of that, but that can actually set you back, because then you are then, you know, you could be months away from your wedding or weeks away from your wedding, and you're back on Pinterest and you're second guessing every decision that you've made, and all of a sudden you don't want purple flowers, you want blush flowers, or, you know, you don't want a 15-foot long veil, you actually want a 4-foot veil. And those things are huge financial differences, potentially financial burdens when planning your wedding. So that is probably the most important tip that I can give you with Pinterest, is once you have made those decisions, delete your folder, or at least shut it off so you're not getting, you know, any more notifications on that. Trust yourself. You have done an amazing job to this point. You are marrying the person that you are absolutely head over heels in love with, and that is the most important part. So all of these other little details, these are just the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of everything. And yes, you want this day to be amazing, but it's one day in your amazing life with this person. And I promise you that no matter how much you plan, no matter how much you think that you have thought of everything, there will be one little tiny thing that doesn't go according to your ideal plan, and that's okay, because it actually could go even better than what you planned it to be, or the alternative might actually, you know, be more appealing to everyone else who's coming to your wedding, or that could be that little thing that you look back on in, you know, 20 years or 30 years and you still are able to laugh about. So take that stress away and just trust yourself and know that you have made the best decision for yourself and for your big day, and it's all good. It's all good. You know, Pinterest can't tell you everything, and it's there to help, but it's not there to be that ultimate deciding factor. That needs to be you, and you need to really trust your decision making, because you can do this. You got this. And then just a little bit of a side note, and this is really for anything to do with the internet, whether it's Pinterest or Etsy or just Google or Facebook or Instagram, anything like that. And that is really to just know that it's not always what it seems to be. So sometimes things are too good to be true on those sites. Do have a level of caution with anything that you're seeing online, and don't have that expectation of, you know, of some of these prices and these guidelines that some of these other shops are showing. A lot of the time you're not getting what is actually in that picture, or it's being created, you know, with lack of quality and with really bad materials. So just really be smart about those decisions, and just use common sense in knowing that not everything on the internet is what it claims to be. I want you to be aware of it so that it doesn't surprise you, because I do want you to have the best wedding that you can possibly have. So I think that those are my 4 big tips for using Pinterest. I hope that you found them helpful. Until the next video, if you're not already following me on Instagram, please do head on over to Instagram. You can find me there under Lilacs and Whiskey. That is my company. Like I said, I do design florals and wedding accessories. If you have any questions or comments about Pinterest, or if there is any other videos that you would like to see me create, do leave them in the comments box. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to reply to all of you. And until the next video, just enjoy planning your wedding and being unique and beautifully you. And we will see you again soon, beauties.